Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Liz on Biz. Here with me today is Tanya P. Brown. Welcome to the show, Tanya.
Thank you for having me, Liz. Happy to be here.
I'm thrilled because I feel like in the times we've got to know each other, all I've done is just talk about nonsense, and you're just here for it. And that's
Oh,
that's the big part of this show is nonsense. Like we need a healthy amount of nonsense to keep this from being like tip number one, do
hmm
your taxes. I mean, you
Yeah.
should, but you don't need me to tell you. Right? But tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Thank you. So, again, my name is Tanya P. Brown. I own the Confident Quitters Collective, where we like to say that our job is to help you quit yours. And how we do this is we help women, typically they're corporate leaders, kind of navigate the financial maze of how do you build a financial exit strategy that not only gets you to the quit, but that makes sure you're still standing in 12 to 18 months.
Whoa. Well, because when people want to confidently quit, is it that they're confidently quitting to go to another, like your clients in particular, are they want to go to another kind of job? Or is it that they hate their job and they want to quit? Or, I mean, you could tell me. Or is it like, ooh, I want to quit so I can go start a business or do something else?
For the clients that work with me universally, they want to transition into self employment, but they don't want to blow up their financial lives in the process or the 20 years of work they put into it.
Hmm.
So they want a strategy. How do I bridge this personal business gap? Again, the big thing is so for me, in 12 to 18 months, they're still standing.
And you know what's interesting about this kind of like business? Like to have I love that this is a business, by the way, because I think it should be, because you're filling a gap to kind of let people jump on the, what is it, puddle jump? No, jumping rocks. Like you're jumping to the next rock, but like you're like there to hold their hand. If you've ever jumped rocks
Yes.
in a muddy pond, I don't know, I'm not that outdoorsy, but when I was little, I got into some stuff. But like I picture that, but like there was also one time when I was running my business, this reminds me so much of when I had Leo because I hired a business baby proofer. And one of the things that they teach is like that you should have this like reservoir of money. So that way everybody still gets paid on maternity leave. So it's not 12 to 18 months, but one of the things that she talked about, it was a cool name of the show. It's called Baby Proofing Your Business. And but yeah, she talked about having like a reservoir so you don't go crazy. Is that, but there's probably more to confidently quitting than that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So, kind of how this all came about, like the villain origin story.
Yay! Oh, tell us how you became Jafar and you went
Yes,
after
yes. So
Aladdin.
start off in finance. Okay, if you ask me, it
Mm.
was 5 years ago, but 1997 is longer than that. It doesn't feel like almost 30
That's what
years.
they've told me. Is
Yeah,
that it
so
was a longer
started in
ago.
banking and finance in 97, moved to financial advising, moved to wealth management. And then I made this shift to where I would work with corporations and help them build out financial planning programs for their employees. Here
Mm.
was the funny part.
Okay.
When the employees would talk to me, initially it was confidential. They were shy, they were quiet. The second I said, this is confidential, this would not get back to your employers, here's what I would get me the beep, beep, beep out of here. How do I do
Wow.
this? And it
Wow.
was constant. And to do this, I had to be really well versed in their benefits. For some that had really complicated compensation, think the person that has a ton of bonuses, a ton of stock options, helping them
Mm.
understand what they are, the taxation, essentially, so they can make an informed decision. If they leave in 3, 6, 9 months, what does this look like? But I was doing this quite a bit. On the other
Wow.
end, I was also the chair of my small business committee. And it broke my heart to see so many people shutting down. Their business ideas were great. They were brilliant. They just miscalculated what they actually needed to sustain themselves. And I say 12 to 18 months because those are the do or die months. So, what I did was I took all of that and reverse engineered backwards and said, to build this program out, the number one goal is to
Mm.
get them to confidently quit, but I want them to stay quit. I don't know if that's
Yes.
the right word, but yeah,
No, but to
or
stay
grammar. But
free
I want them to
from
stay
that.
free.
Yeah.
What are the elements that needs to be in place for this to happen? Where are all the missteps that I saw? That was how this got built. And I felt the call to move forward and make this into a business. I am a person of faith, so I prayed. I felt God saying, you need to move on. And as a good and
Mm.
faithful Christian, I was like, oh, hell no.
That's
I'm going to really, not
so
my proudest,
relatable.
not my proudest faith moment. But I was
That's like
like,
when people are like, I'm looking for a sign from God or the
exactly.
universe. And then like they get the sign and they're like, can you show me a signier sign than that sign wasn't really a sign though.
Exactly. Because I was giving up the work I had done. Like at this point, I
Yeah.
had the position, I had the income, money was not a worry. And I was like, for real, could this not be done in some other way? Or could I have it? Oh,
Yes.
not my, and I really felt God saying, okay, you want it your way? Fine. Within months, my leadership changed. I was traveling a lot and everything came to a head when
Yeah.
I was closing on my house and it was going to run right into a corporate meeting for a large client. I knew I couldn't go, told my leadership, trained the people to go do this.
Hmm.
And fast forward a few months, or the leadership said they were okay, great, thank you. Fast forward, I got punished on a performance review
Because of that?
because I failed the loyalty test. Yes, I was actually supposed to, according to them, um, basically not go to my closing and go to the
Wow.
meeting. So I failed the loyalty test. So I'm
Wow.
sitting there in the
What are they,
meeting.
mafia? Like,
It felt like
where
it.
did you work? So
Cannot
mean.
disclose,
No, I
but
know, but like,
it was
it's
insane.
crazy.
It was. So I'm sitting there. First, I
Wow. It's
thought, am
so
I
hard
being
to
punked?
close on a house.
Yeah, I it was insane. But my
Yeah.
first thought was that I got to be being punked. Then my
Mm,
second thought was, okay, I have a cocktail mix of being from New York, Caribbean, and ex-military. I can just show them all of this. And I thought, no, I'm not going to go out like that. And my third thought was,
yeah.
how many hands had to have felt, looked at this review and said it was okay? And I realized I can't fix culture, and I left.
You can't, that is the most woe and true thing ever.
Yeah,
That's, I mean, even as a business owner, right? Not somebody in the corporate world, but like it's almost like when you have a client and they're such a horrible fit
yeah,
that at some point, like even if you help them along, but like at some point you just have to cut and run.
yeah.
Like I've had clients like that. I've had some nasties, where like and then they're rotten and then like you can kind of get through because I don't do it depending on what it is. I don't have to talk a lot to them. I can just help them. But then at some point you just have to move on. But like that must have been it's almost like what is it like if you would because you wouldn't do it. So it's like it just did it they did it to you. Like
I
because you
had to be
had to
pushed.
leave, but you
I
wouldn't
did.
leave.
Yep. So I got pushed out and it was
Whoa.
the best. I felt like I was being pushed out also because it's like so much stuff changed.
Mm,
Um, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. It didn't feel like it at the time. So for
right.
those of you go, oh, the other thing, when I speak to other people, especially people who got laid off or people who felt they were pushed out or denied promotions and they love to start a business, when I talk to them, it's not always the first year, second or third. All of us say the same thing. It was the best thing that ever happened to us. We would never have left on our own.
No, I think that's 100%. I mean, in that we think about a little bit how I told you about my husband and all
Yeah.
the stuff that he went through, and now he's at Harvard.
Yeah.
And it's like we would never, that's insane that that worked out that way specifically, because he would have never in a million years chosen to get another man. He has a master's already. He would have never chosen to keep going to school.
Mhm.
And it was like, no, this is what you need to do now. It was like this is the only path. The shiny arrows are pointing at it.
Yep.
Like we must, I guess it's what we're doing. And then we did, but like it's funny, like when you have those moments that you separate. I even think for confident quitters, there's probably because I like that you're calling it confident quitters because it's so if you're gonna quit, quit confidently. But like I also feel like it's also there's emotional stuff there
Very
too.
much so. Yeah. So I tell
Yeah.
people on the outer surface, it's quitting your job to going solo. underneath that, the core of what I do is
Mhm.
help women let go of what no longer serves them so they can grab a hold of
Yes.
what does. In my case, it's quitting and going into their calling. Almost every woman I spoke to, there's a nudge, there's a feeling this is something they want to do, someone to reclaim the freedom of their time. I feel like that's the core for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
They want to be free
Yeah.
to do the things that matter to them most.
Yeah, like because for example, I like picking up my son at camp.
Yeah.
Like if I had a traditional job, there would be a nanny picking up my son at camp. But I get to pick up my son because I work for myself and I'm allowed, I let me do that. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I think my someone had asked what was my moment where I felt successful. And the moment I
Oh.
felt successful, I had to do an emergency cookie crumble run because my daughter's friend was having issues with her boyfriend and she needed to gather with all the girls to talk about him. And they invited me, so I feel privileged.
Oh, that's
And
a
I
big
thought,
deal.
here I am with the normally I would not be able to do it. I know it sounds crazy, but
Yeah.
sitting there listening to their 16-year-old drama.
Right.
But the fact that I could do it, I could be that emotional support for her friend.
That like
I
makes
just
me
thought,
have feelings.
yeah, it was really cool. It
So
sounds
wait, did you
crazy.
go to Crumble, like the Crumble store where you get the fancy cookies? Is that what you meant?
Yes, apparently the crumble store where you get the cookies, and I keep calling it cookie crumble. They're like, no, it's crumble and Starbucks. Those are the places of
Oh.
choices for heartbroken
That
teenage
just
girls.
that just made my tummy go, "Oh, I want a crumble cookie."
Yeah,
It was like I hungry.
yeah.
My tummy is Cookie Monster, I think.
I love
Actually,
cookies.
I like cookies and I like Cookie Monster for sure. But we have a crumble near us. I have a gift card that's like now burning a hole in my purse. But that is
Consider this a
special.
sign.
But that's what I love that that's like how you measured, like what is the moment that you really felt successful? And I like so I've been in business a while and it's like I've had a series of moments that made me feel successful and like one of them I remember was when I could first afford to buy an iPad.
Mm,
Another one was when I bought or no, when I could pay my student loan bill with my business and that because my and I don't have them anymore because I paid them off last year, which is a big deal.
yeah,
But I had student loan bill. My payment was like 1,200 a month, and I remember when I had my business covered that bill, I was like, oh, like
yeah.
this is really I'm onto something. And
Yeah, when I
now
was able to
it's
cover a
crazy.
vacation. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a big
No,
one.
it is a big one. And
Yeah.
you don't have student loans anymore, do you?
Mm-mm.
No, you
No.
wouldn't, because you're so smart with all the CFP after your name. That CFP,
Oh,
certified student loan payer. Oh no,
certified
F.
financial planner. Oh
I'm just
no, I still have a graveyard of stuff that I just yeah, I just think what was I thinking? We all do.
Oh, like random, you mean like bad things you bought?
Oh gosh, yeah. Like
Oh,
oh
really?
well, in this okay, so when you think about when you start a business, I don't know
Yeah.
about anyone else out there or
Oh,
you,
I've
but
blown some money.
yeah, all the graveyard of courses, webinars, it was insane how much
Yeah.
money I spent. It was ridiculous.
My biggest waste of money that I'm excited to tell you about was I hired a PR person because I was like, oh, like I'd like some PR. Like, because I had a show and I was like,
Mhm.
oh, it'd be great if I could get on other shows and da 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 da. And she kept getting me like guest blogging opportunity. And I was like, no, I don't want to blog. I really just want to be on podcasts. This is a lot of work for me to write articles for other websites, you
Mm.
know? It was the biggest waste of money. I think she got me on two shows that are super random, have nothing to do with my audience. I don't know how I got there. And I spent like $1,500 to $2,000, I think. It was just for a month and a half because after the month I was like, I gotta get out of here because like I go, she doesn't get it. Like she doesn't get me. And she was, I think, over promising and under delivering. And so that was my most expensive. But I think we can all relate to the course graveyard that you're talking about too. But like, have you
Oh,
ever had a bad hire where you hired and you were like, what's happening?
yeah. um, I'm trying to remember, like I needed help with I was at the place where I needed this is years ago,
Yeah.
before the advent of AI, and Canva back then is not Canva now. So
Right.
back in the day, you really needed a virtual assistant to do like marketing materials and stuff. Today, you can do practically everything through AI. So I hired a virtual assistant.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, I didn't really know my messaging. I really
Yeah.
didn't know my clients. So she did a beautiful job creating a really bad product for me.
Yeah, because it had no meaning.
Yeah, and because she didn't really have the background, honestly, she didn't really ask. It was just off in every way, but I
Yeah.
didn't know what was off about it, and she really wasn't equipped to help me know what was off about it. It was just a mess. And
Yeah.
that was hundreds upon, probably if I add everything up together, it had to be about $1,500 worth of stuff that I never used.
Yeah. I always say, so like I do get hired a lot for design still
Mhm.
because AI looks so AI.
It
But
does.
but I hear you because I think for basic things,
Mhm.
it's amazing. And I
Yeah.
my favorite if you're gonna do design gen, this is as a
Mhm.
designer. I think Canva AI is the better AI for design gen because at least you can edit it
Mhm.
just by being
Mhm.
like edit.
Yeah.
But no, that is so relatable. And I remember one time I hired somebody and she started hiring somebody under her to do the work that I hired her
Mhm.
for. So
Yeah.
like I hired her, explained it, then she hired somebody to do the work
Mhm.
that she didn't want to do that I was paying her for. And then
Yeah.
I gave somebody else a raise that works here and she found out about it, and was like, "Where's my raise?" And I was like, "Well, you don't do any of the work." So
Yeah.
like,
But you see,
what
I
are we
didn't know.
doing?
Yeah, but you see, I didn't know you. So when I hired, I just was hiring. There's a difference between hiring someone to
Yeah.
technically do the work, and then what you do is you do the consultation.
Oh, I really learn
That
you and write it and do it, and it's
exactly. I didn't
meaningful.
have that piece. It was
A
just
lot
the
of them don't.
base.
And those kinds of VAs, though, like when they talk about AI and
Yeah.
like AI's taking my job, like all of the people that were doing cut and paste,
Mhm.
like menial garbagine,
That was
which
it.
is the fake Italian word for garbage, garbagina. If you're doing garbagina, regular basic websites and
Mhm.
loser designs that are not meaningful or like, then those are the people that I'm like, oh, I bet you are being
Yeah.
removed for AI. Because like what's weird, I thought, because I didn't know, but I sought to learn everything I could about AI. So been in my job, right? Like I had to learn AI SEO, AIEO, and how SEO has changed based on
Mhm.
AI and how buyer psychology has also changed because of AI. There's like a lot of stuff that's changed. So like I love that. So I'm like, oh, let's learn. Like because I like to know how things work and the meaning. But our business apparently has grown. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't even notice. But see, this is why. And I wonder, I have 5 questions for you. I have 100 actually. But like, I think about when you help these confident quitters,
Mhm.
which by the way, now it's my favorite thing to say. You should have t-shirts. Oh, maybe. But when you help them kind of foray into their calling, I love confidently quit so you can go to your calling. There's a lot of
Yeah.
C and K and K sounds in there. Something there we could do with something.
Mhm.
Do you have like a jazzy with that, like a catchphrase? Because I'm like, you could be like, confidently quit so you can go find your calling. Confidently quit so you can come into your calling. I don't know, something like that. But at any rate, when they come into the calling, so when they do the quit button, when they rip off
Mhm.
the quit band-aid, because I imagine it's a very big band-aid though, and it hurts.
Mhm.
Even if you confidently quit, it's still maybe it's one of those massive ones at the hospital and it rips a little bit of the skin out, and you're like, ow, but I did it. And you're
Mhm.
there, and that makes it so much better. But
Mhm.
like, do you also support them on the other side of the quit? Because like it sounds like you help them prepare to confidently quit so they can step into their calling. Ooh, that's a good sentence. Confidently quit so you can step into your
Into
calling.
your
It's like a
calling.
dance. But like, but like if they confidently quit to step into their calling, do you also help them step? Because you
Yeah.
help them Oh, you do?
Yeah.
So you're
So
doing
keep
a
in mind,
two-step.
there's a two-step. So when someone works in my program, I bridge the gap because the
Yeah.
first part is understanding the personal, but the business part that they're stepping into, we do both. So we work on the personal side, we work on the basics of, okay, your business numbers, we
Yeah.
work on pricing. I have to do both. So
That's
it has
so fun for you.
yeah, it is. It's a combination. And because my background is taxes, I
Yeah.
help them understand the basics of the new tax universe they're stepping into. Which, to be completely honest, I feel like a Mythbusters episode every time I'm like, no, you can't do that. No, no, this person is sending you to prison. No, don't. So a lot of it
I've
is
seen a lot too,
yeah,
Tanya. You want to know what I saw that would make your like inner compliance monster need a cookie? So
yes.
I was helping someone, and I can't say obviously because stuff, confidentiality, but I was helping them. Let's say they were, I'm just going to make it up. Let's say they did Botox injections. And they worked at a studio where you sort of rent a chair to
Mhm.
do the needle. And the studio all shared the same Calendly account, let's say, booking system account. And I've changed it, so you have no idea what I'm talking about. But let's say they all use the same thing. She said one day, this Botox injector, I really don't feel comfortable using the studio's Calendly. I'd like to have my own account. So I go, okay, well, like, did you have access level in your Calendly to export just your clients? So I log in. I suddenly saw every single person that's ever had a Botox injection at the entire studio under different business umbrellas. So there's just customer data and client
Mhm.
data all together, notes about medical notes. This person's got a mole and it's looking kind of weird, that kind of note. And like, this is their phone number, this is their AOL Instant Messenger screen name. I'm just kidding, not that. But like, literally, like, so much. And I just said to her, holy HIPAA violation. Because
Yeah,
I was
that.
like, what are we doing? And then she was like, what's the problem? And I was like, well, they're getting sued, man. I was like, and you could too. Because like, I go, all your data's together. She's like, will I get sued? And I said, well, not if I get you the hell out of there. And I
Yeah.
was like, but that's, oh
All it
my God.
takes is one breach, and
Hmm.
that's it.
Yeah,
And people have
I threw
that's
up
insane.
in my tummy, not out loud, but like I thought my tummy did a flip because I was like, somebody did this and was like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Whoa. But you myth bust. I love that for you. So that's
Yeah.
gotta be, well, I want to ask you something because you're also like, I feel like because you get to know the person, right?
Mhm.
Because there's the confidently quitting techniques. I'm sure that there are, but like, because for me, it's like cash flow is my number one. It has to be that you need to have a good cash flow reserve, but
Yep.
there's probably other ones that you talk to them about. But is
Mhm.
part of it that, like, because you said sometimes all these people have is a nudge. Like,
Yep.
sometimes all they have is a nudge. Do you draw out their calling? Are they sometimes afraid to say, I want to have a muffin shop?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Petrified.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I rarely find that someone doesn't know what they want. I
Yeah.
find they are scared to say it out loud. They're
Yeah.
scared it doesn't work. And I
Oh,
tell them a lot of times you get the call and you kind of have to have faith in the how, and you just take those steps. And the clarity comes from action. So sometimes it's
yeah.
coaching them into just action, like just asking people questions, doing an informational interview, maybe taking on someone and it seems interesting
Hmm.
and seeing what happens on the other side. Like I did not have a website with my first few clients.
Yeah.
I looked in books, saw who may have been a fit, and I was like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Would you like to be my guinea pig? That was how I got started. And
I
people
love
said
that.
yes. And from each person, I learned. I learned who I enjoyed working with. I learned who I
Hmm.
didn't enjoy working with. I learned that like I can't do 2 hour sessions. I would go crazy. I need a shorter timeline. Like
Never.
all those things, like what time frame work, but I learned through doing. I didn't just, I don't know, it didn't just magically fall on me. So that just expressing that clarity comes from action. It comes
Mm.
action, not being afraid to just look stupid. It'll be okay. They don't think you're stupid. You feel it because I felt like I was all over the place in the beginning
Oh,
because
me
I was
too.
building the airplane as I was flying it.
Yeah.
But there's really no other way. You kind of learn. And that was how I stumbled even into this niche. It should have been obvious with everything I did, but it wasn't. I think I chose a different niche. And I just found people were coming to me who were looking to quit, who were looking to go solo, who didn't know how do I navigate this world of personal and business. And because
Yeah.
I knew both sides, I was able to bring it together, but simplify it.
Yes. And when you got pushed out, what was your first niche? Because you said you didn't, your first niche was different.
Oh my gosh, it was so embarrassing. Okay, so my first niche, again, it
You
should have
got to
been,
start somewhere.
yeah, it should have been screamingly obvious that this should have been my niche, but it wasn't. So
Yeah.
I had younger kids at the time. So I thought, okay, I can help moms, younger moms
Yeah.
who want to quit corporate and move into their calling. And for some, it's a job, but it pays less. It wasn't quite all business.
Mm.
And every website I had at the time when I finally got the website had family on it. Every picture I had a mom, a dad, and kids. I kid you not. I don't know if I was a mom
Yeah.
repellent, but I could not attract a single family member at all.
Interesting.
The only people that came to me, they're like, look, I see your website. I'm 40 something. I have no kids. Can you work with me? Or my
Interesting.
kids are empty nesters. So
Yeah.
I after a while I saw the writing on the wall and I just said, obviously something I'm saying is attracting an older group, a group who's either they have no kids
Mm-hmm.
or they're empty nesters. So I finally just followed who
And
naturally
followed it.
was coming to me. And
Yeah.
then I created the business around this person that was naturally attracted to me. And I felt like that was much better. If I could go back, I wish I would not have niche so soon because I would have discovered this a
I
lot
always tell people
earlier.
don't niche early. And I'm a
Yeah.
marketer, but I
Yeah.
say it because I go, you don't even know who you are yet
Yeah.
as a company. Like I used to be, I only help women, da 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 da, women in business. So I used to be, I help women launch and build online businesses they love. So it was about women building online businesses and going virtual and going whatever. And then I was like, I have so many men clients. And then over time, my mission statement has evolved. And now it's I help you be the star you know you are. And it's so much more about empowerment, being your own cheerleader, um, and all the stuff I sell will make you feel confident online. And it's about confidence and empowerment and stepping into your stardom rather than having a backstage pass to your own show. And I think that's kind of where I went, but in the beginning it was so different. And it's so relatable though. And then I can't help but think about moms in general. So like I think about moms that I know and I think about their jobs and some of them would be like, and I think that there's so, and I know that this is going to sound sweeping and overgeneralized, so I hesitate to make the statement. But one of my nudges when I hear that is some moms are so afraid of leaving their job because they think it could hurt their kid, I
Yeah.
think, in the
No,
long run. So
I am,
they get afraid to even ask you. So I bet they were looking at your website, perhaps salivating, and then thinking, but I just can't.
yeah. And what I've told some of them quite bluntly
Yeah.
is if medication and therapy is the only way you can make it throughout the week, you're already absent.
Whoa. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. I would say at this rate, and it's really sad to say, hospitalization is becoming almost the top way people come through me because they're so stressed out. So if you are so stressed out at your job, you are already absent. Like I could tell you when I was stressed out, I wasn't fully engaged with my kids. I wasn't fully present. I was just so stressed.
That's intense.
Yeah.
Well, that's like when I have clients that really, that's why they don't stay. Because I'm like, I need to be a good mom. Like, I can't have somebody sucking the life out of me. So, like, if somebody really upsets me, I let them leave. I say, here's how you can leave. And, like, here's some of your money sometimes. And depending on their contract. But then I say all those things. And then I'm like, and here's a nice, happy place for you to go. And often I send them to the same website person that I don't know. There's like another girl, and I just don't know her, but she looks tougher than me. Like, she looks like she can take it. Do you know what I mean? If they're a rough personality, so I send them to her. But she does. She does really well with the people I send because they show up on her website as a testimonial.
Yeah, I do refer out. Like if I get
You do
that
too.
person, and sometimes they're just not a fit. If they're too
Mm,
early in their business, I always say, figure out that part so we know what direction we're moving you in. And then
yeah.
I'm going to refer out if the personalities aren't gelling, I will find them another personality to go to. Like I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
You're not going to fix a bad personality fit.
No, not
And every
possible.
time, yeah, and I used to have to do deep breathing exercises to make it through with one. Just
Wow.
we just weren't we just weren't great personalities. So I
No.
learned the hard way. Just let them, it's not worth it. Just
It's
let them
not,
go.
it's never worth it.
Yeah.
So, is there a book in you? Do you have a book? Because you should.
I get asked that so
Because it sounds
often.
like I would buy it. It's so zingy. Like what you say, like, oh, confidently quit and go step in
Yeah,
your
it is,
calling.
and
It's
it's
so
so
like
funny when
cool.
yeah, when you say all that, it's like it's so, when I think about it, it's like I always say like confidently quitting to your calling begins with clarity.
That
And the
see, you
main
do have
thing,
a zingy thing that you
I do
say.
have this thingy thing with clarity because
Mm,
if I were to write a book, it would be, I feel like it would be the constant myth busting. So the first thing, sometimes I'll hear why 12 months? And I'm like, for
yeah.
most people, you're not making a lot of money for the first 12 months. And even for those
Yeah, that's
people
true.
that like, oh God, I can go on forever about the influencers. I
Oh,
hit
I
six
hate
figures in
them.
2 months, in 3 months. Well, here's what I tell people. There's a backstory. So if I was to write a book, when I started really looking at the influencers who did that, I found I can break them up in categories.
Mm,
Number one, they had a spouse who basically covered all of their bills,
there
and
it
that
is.
spouse gave them a secondary network.
Mm-hmm.
They already had a large following, either Instagram, email list. So when they left, they had this huge group of,
Yeah.
they had this reservoir of people. If you don't have that, it's not going to work. Or their employer or family member became their first clients, which is, if you don't have that, that's tough.
That does help.
Yeah.
All those
Parents,
things would help.
yeah, parents who are business owners, I find if your parents were business owners, you have a head start on understanding business that took me a while to
That was
get to.
me.
Yeah.
Although they were very bad at it.
Oh,
By
they're bad at it. And
comparison. But I learned
yeah,
what not to do. So
exactly.
I got a little like I went to the school of hard knocks that way is
Oh,
they really brought their work home and I
mhm,
had to hear about every customer that was awful. But they were in products and manufacturing, so they were in an entirely different business.
mhm.
But once I saw that, I was like, oh, what not to do. So don't make anything with metal, at least now, until I figure out what I'm really doing, right? Like, but like I learned a lot from them. But that's, but I feel like yours would be like, I don't know, how to quit a job in 10 days, but that's not it. But I just thought of how to lose a guy in 10 days for that movie. So like how to quit a job in, I don't know, you could make it up. Maybe 100 days is more realistic, maybe longer. See, I have no
Yeah,
idea, but yeah.
depending on the person, and sometimes it's not a direct quit. Sometimes it's a bunny hop. If they can't,
Hmm.
some people just can't afford to do it. So I'm like, okay, we're doing this in stages. First stage is we have got to free you from what's dragging you down with the job. It may be
Yeah.
another job, and then it may be a part-time job, then it may
Yep.
be full-time. So the strategy doesn't have to be a big leap. It could be, again, it could be a series of bunny hops.
Love
But
that.
the reason why I say Mythbusters, because again, my thing is when people say, oh, yeah, just save 6 months of expenses, I'm like, great, you have 6 months of living expenses. But what happens if the roof goes bad? What happens if the car needs to be repaired? You're not going to need money for
Agree.
anything other than to eat or live. And I find people don't think about all of the moving pieces of their
Or
financial
even
life.
just if you want to buy a pair of earrings, you should be able
Yeah,
to have it, you know? Like you have great earrings today. But like
thank you.
I was just thinking even 12 to 18, isn't that the amount of time that if you're fired, you collect unemployment for 12 to 18? Or it's similar, 18 months unemployment, or it is, isn't it?
Can be. And
Can
it
be.
actually varies by state.
Oh, interesting. Because here in Massachusetts, I'm like, oh, well, my husband collected unemployment, I would think a
Mhm.
year-ish,
And then it's,
before he went to Harvard.
yeah, then it's what you're complying with. So that can get a little bit nuanced.
Oh, because you have to keep applying every single week for
Hmm.
unemployment. Da, 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 da. I love how I
Yeah.
was like, and da, 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 but you knew what I meant. Yada, yada, yada. No, so Tanya, this has been a wicked,
Mm.
you're so interesting and cool. So if some, like, if people are listening, and they have a business, can you help? This is your last question, by the way. I didn't get to warn you. That's what I was saying. But maybe you got the hint because I was like, you've been so cool. But when people are listening and they have a business, do you ever kind of like also kind of can you step into a business too? Like maybe that somebody's already started and help them like if they feel a little bit like skitter scatter with their finances, do you do that stuff or nah?
I end up, yes. So someone
Yeah.
will come to me saying, I started a business. I don't know financially if I can keep this up because there's a personal side. Like, did I make the right decision? Did I do? I'm like, let's
Yeah.
just take a deep breath first. Let's, you had the
I haven't
courage
done
to
that
move
all
forward.
day. Thank you.
Yeah. And I really try to get over the shame of there's not a bad decision. You're learning how to do something you never did before. So kind of
Yeah.
re-reviewing, but I will tell them at that point it's a little bit of crisis mode because we don't have any backfall. So sometimes after I'm done, I'm like,
Mm.
we need a part-time job or we may need to refigure your numbers.
Hmm. I love that though, because you tell it like it is, but also it sounds like you will make people feel more confident because confidence comes from clarity. I mean, that's the whole thing with confidently quitting, so you can step into your calling with clarity. Oh, like I did it, I did it, I did your thing, I did it.
I'm
But
still
that's
feeling
the
that.
clarity is so it's so good,
Mhm.
because that the clarity you can't have confidence without that clarity. Because how could you be confident if you've no idea? It's like when I look at my bank account, I do feel like I hate logging in to do it, even now, even being successful. I still have the muscle memory of this can be a painful experience,
Mhm.
but I still log in to this day. And oftentimes the clarity about at least knowing where I'm at for the month gives me so much confidence to be able to take inspired action to either beat my goal or like make a new goal or like run a new promotion or don't or sit and feel pretty because maybe things are really great. Do you know what I'm trying to say? But I can't access that sanity unless I look.
Yeah, and it's the same thing. And it's interesting because that is my first step with everyone. We
Yeah.
have got to look at your spending. We have to look at your numbers because if you think you have 6 months of income, what exactly are you basing that number off of if you don't really know what your average spending is?
There
And
it
even
is.
working with them to think through average, we're thinking average throughout the year.
Yeah.
If you have an electric bill where you have high months, low months, I find people are great at choosing the lowest months for everything. And I'm like, no, we can't do that in real
No.
life. So having them think through their numbers,
Yeah.
even with the savings, having them think through the savings. So I do give people a little bit of a formula because some people are like, should I save 6 to 12 months? And I'm like, it depends. If
Yeah.
you already have a business running, if you've had a business, have a business running, have a bunch of active clients, you are already producing income, you may very well be able to get away with 6 months of expenses. This is not the other stuff saved. If you have a couple of clients, you really haven't gotten the business together, we're thinking probably closer to 12
You
months.
would, because what if you have if you're a dry spell, like if you're, because some
Exactly.
agencies too, like marketing agencies, I have friends that run like this, and they'll have two clients at a time or three. We have like 100.
Yeah.
Like, but I like to diversify, like, because I'm a really good business person, but like,
Yeah.
and I became a really good business person through learning things. But I like to diversify where all the revenue is coming from, so then
Yeah.
I'm not like I don't have like a hammer to my knee if somebody leaves.
Yeah,
I can move
absolutely.
on.
Absolutely. But 24 months is if you're starting from zero. Because when you
Yeah.
think about it, I mean, my
If you're
recommendation is
zero,
please don't quit if you're starting from zero. But
no.
if you so happen to not have any options, 24 months. But
Hmm.
I often say it's not necessarily, the amount you need. That amount doesn't always have to be savings. It could be part of it's savings, part of it is a part time job. So yes, that's the amount you need, but there could be sources where you can get that. So and
Yeah.
I work with what makes sense for that person.
I love it. Okay, Tanya, tell everybody how they can find you online.
Thank you. Well, you can find me online at www.tania, that's TANIAPBrown.com.
Amazing. You guys, the links will be in the show notes. Tanya, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank